Good morning, everyone. My name is Steven from Belleghem. I'm one of the partners of Nextworks, and I'm really excited that we could help Medialaan with setting up this wonderful event. So thank you, Medialaan, for involving us. And I'm happy that I can host a fireside panel about AI and customer experience. I think it's a really interesting time. If you look at the evolution of digital, we're like entering this new phase, where phase one was about the information that became available online, and Google was clearly the winner. Phase two was about social and mobile, where communication changed completely, where Facebook and Apple were the clear winners. And now we're moving in this phase of automation and artificial intelligence. And I personally believe for customer experience and marketing, this is going to be the most exciting time ever. I personally also believe that this is going to have huge benefits for customers. We're going to arrive in this world of faster than real-time customer service, where you're driving to the airport, you're stuck in traffic, and before you even know that you're gonna miss your flight, the airline already rebooked your flight. That is faster than real-time. It's gonna be a world of hyper-personalization. If you remember the video that Stephen Miller showed about Amazon Look, there's actually this recommendation engine in it that Amazon will tell you what the best outfit for the day is based on your calendar and the way that you look, hyper-personalized. And then we're going to have the most convenient interfaces that we've seen before. I think if you look to Amazon Go, it's probably like the best retail concept ever. You walk into the store, you scan your phone when you walk in, you grab whatever you need from the shelves. You don't have to scan anything, you don't need to pay anything, you just walk out. So they basically took out everything that we hate about shopping, you know, the waiting in line, the hustling, the paying, hustling again. They took that out and they made the most convenient interface ever. So I think AI is gonna have huge benefits for consumers, and we wanna have a discussion about that with a few people. Cliff is gonna be the first one that's part of the panel, but I'd like to invite a few other people on stage. The first person that I'd like to invite is Nadira. So please, a warm welcome for this power lady of artificial intelligence coming from Belgium.
Hi, hello. Hi.
Good to have you. I was reading about her company, ScriptBook, and when I read it, I thought she would be from Hollywood, but the cool thing is she is actually from Belgium. So can you maybe explain a little bit what your company does, because it's really awesome?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, everybody is disappointed when they found out, you know, I live achter de hoek. That's one thing. Secondly, what we do with ScriptBook, basically we built a artificial intelligence decision support system that is capable of reading screenplays. So basically we read screenplays. We will analyze them automatically. We will come up with a number of outputs such as storyline characteristics, also character analysis, and we also will tell you how viable your film project or screenplay is by generating a number of financial outputs.
If you're not from Hollywood, how did you end up in this business?
Well, actually, a long story, but I'll make it short. I wrote my master's thesis on actually data mining screenplays, data mining film scripts, and quantifying story parameters, and actually use them as an input in predictive modeling. So that's, I know most theses end up in a drawer collecting dust, but mine turned into a company, so here I stand.
Cool. Just one last question. What is like the last movie that you made a prediction for that was really accurate? Can you share that?
Well, I can share one that's on our website, which was Passengers. I think we did the full analysis back in 2015, and I think we predicted around the US box office of 180 million, 118.1. And I think the box office is landed at 101. So not too bad with, you know, 2 years ago before even production started.
Just with a script.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Really cool. So thank you for being here.
Thanks.
And let's invite our last panel member, and that is Filip. So please, a warm welcome for Filip that's going to join us.
Great.
Welcome, Filip. Filip is an expert in cybersecurity, in artificial intelligence, in Internet of Things, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about what your new company is doing.
So thanks for having me, by the way. So I'm partner at Faction XYZ, And with Faction XYZ, we're a machine learning service provider. So basically, we work for companies that have a vision and a budget to either use AI to lower their product cost or process cost, or use AI to actually build new products and launch them into the market. As part of that, we're specializations in computer vision, sensor data, but also natural language. And as part of that last specialization, we've built also our own enterprise platform called chatlayer.ai, which has been used by some of Europe's largest banks, utility providers, and online retailers to lower their support costs, often in excess of 60%.
All right. And what's like the coolest bot or platform that you made in the last year?
I think there's one cool one and that we're currently working on still is for Hyperloop Transportation Technologies. And there we're actually being asked to work on building an AI solution that their workforce, so they have in excess of 800 co-workers worldwide, that allows them to actually converse with this AI solution in terms of asking or requesting sick days, holidays, sending reminders, making calendar schedules. And this is actually living on a eternal email address that they can just simply mail to, like very much like you would email a human. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool, fantastic. So
Thank you.
Welcome, and let's go to the table. We've got quite some time to talk about AI and the impact it has on marketing, customer experience, customer service. But first of all, there's a lot of hype about AI. Yesterday I saw that the amount of tweets about AI increased with 1,000% in the last 12 months. So everyone's talking about it. Can maybe you guys as experts in this field tell us what is hype and what is real at this moment? Nadira, can you say something about that?
I don't think it's a hype, first of all. I think artificial intelligence is happening. It's already among us. It sounds like some monster, but it is already among us. And it's definitely not a hype. I think every company that thinks AI is something of the future will really get a kick in the butt in the next couple of years or the next decade. So I think it's crucial for people to realize that AI is something that will become part of our lives as basically, we will actually say AI along with, pouring cereal in our cup. It will become that.
And Stephen, I'm really pleased that you talked about Amazon so much because they've been ahead of the curve for a very long time. If anyone in this room hasn't got an Amazon Echo yet, I strongly suggest you do. I'm not their employee, I'm not paid by them, but it will genuinely transform how you intersect with media. There's a lot of people that say, I can't see the use case. But when they've got the opportunity to have that personalized conversation with you as their consumer and understand your needs ahead of the game, that for me is where this fantastic opportunity will be. Yet you have to live it a bit to understand it. So go get an Amazon Echo or even one of the Dots, which are very small, but they will change your life. And you'll realize quite how many manual tasks we have understood to be useful actually really are a waste of time.
Okay, I can see the benefit of Amazon Echo. I can see the benefit for Amazon. We have a number of big brands here. What do big brands need to do with an interface like Amazon Echo? What do you guys think? Filip, do you have an opinion?
I mean, these conversational interfaces, I think they will be part of a much larger future that's ahead of us. So it's actually lowering the barrier of interacting with brands. It's also a very psychological thing in the sense that when you start conversing with a human or conversing with a machine, you actually reducing the proximity you feel towards that brand. So actually by asking something to that brand, you get this feeling like, hey, I'm really being taken care of. I'm actually talking to KLM. I'm actually talking to Delta, all these things. So this actually has a great opportunity for big companies out there, also smaller companies, to get closer to that consumer and actually take better care of him in a proactive manner or reactive manner. I had it actually the other day when I was walking into LAX and my flight was delayed, and I actually got this notification on my Facebook Messenger by KLM, actually warning me like, hey, your flight is delayed, there's a gate change and all that. If I would have taken another 10 steps to the gate, I would have actually seen this myself, but just knowing this actually before it happened, or 10 steps before I arrived at the gate, it really gave me a good feeling like, oh man, this brand is taking care of me. So I think there's a great opportunity there.
Okay, Nadira, what do you think? Like big brands like Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, with interfaces like Google Home, Amazon Echo, what should they do?
I think that's a difficult question, first of all, because I don't know Amazon Echo. I should look into that. So it would be hard for me to tell you what Amazon Echo would mean to a different number of brands. So I think that's a difficult. I don't know Amazon Echo, so I'm not going to answer that.
Do you have a
Well,
idea?
again, I mean, I think Philip's point is right about the proximity, but also just engaging with it. There are a number of people that are seeing that and saying, Amazon's won, so I should just step back. For a consumer brand, actually engaging with Echo. So Echo, and again, I don't want this just to be an advert for Echo, but actually it's a very good use case in terms of it has been Amazon's #1 selling device, full stop. Mm-hmm. And people who are buying it are buying one. I now have one in every room in my home, just because you get so used to it. But there are lots of brands that are trying to pull away from it or seeing it as a land grab. They have these things called skills, which are their equivalent of apps, where businesses can start creating branded experiences for them within that device. And my core, plea to all marketers is don't see it as Amazon's device, see it as something you engage with, rather than it being something that you run away from.
As a platform that you can use as a brand.
Absolutely. Also, it's definitely worth looking at Facebook Messenger. Most of you will have Facebook on your phone. You'll probably realize that there have been about 12 updates to Messenger in the last month. And it's going to keep changing and pivoting into a whole new distribution opportunity. Here is the chance for that thing that marketers always say they want to have with their consumers, a conversation.
Right.
Actually, you realize they don't really. They actually just want them to buy shit. But now is the opportunity to have that conversation. If you're United Airlines, you can warn people before you drag them off screen. No. But that KLM example is definitely the one that can opportunity. And if you see how long it took businesses to engage with things like everything from TripAdvisor to Twitter, now you realize that's where the majority of their customer experience interface comes. Right. For that to be automated and for people to start spotting those trends and also using that for innovation, listening to what your consumers want and when they want it, delivering it in that hyper-localized, contextually relevant way, all the things that I was banging on about earlier, that is the opportunity to be able to do that in real time and at scale. Most of the big brands I work with is like, but our systems aren't geared up for that kind of thing. Gear up, please.
Well, you feel like the evolution, we're going from digital first to mobile first to AI first. I think for many people, digital first and mobile first is something that you can basically touch because you have your phone and you're using all the systems yourself. AI is much more intangible for many of us. If companies want to start with that philosophy of AI first, what would be like what are like the design formats that they need to think about? How do they start with using AI in their company? Can someone help them with that? Nadira, can you say something about that?
I think the first step to being serious about AI is, first of all, I think a lot of companies have so much data. They don't even realize how much data they've got. And you should put that data to work. It's just lying there, use it. First, you have to see what can I get out of this data before you think about an interface and you know, how you're going to put that into a product or monetize it, whatever. Use your data. That's step one. I think for companies here in this building, probably a lot of companies are in media or in advertising. There's a lot of data. I think, first of all, you should, well, maybe it sounds weird, but first of all, before you know what to do with data, you should kind of, you know, top up on your on education as well. You need to know what is capable. Because I feel like in our business, when we talk to studios and we talk to large production companies, you see that there are a lot of creative people working in the business. And honestly, it's like they're from Mars and I'm from Venus because they've never heard of AI and that AI can be used in a business where, you know, where ancient methodology has been used since for over 100 years, and things are changing. Nowadays, it's actually quite insane to me, because a lot of people here, I'm sure, when you order in takeout, you know, when you want to, let's say, order some pizza, I'm sure you'll go through 10 or a dozen of reviews before you order. You know, that's common sense, because you don't want to die. That's one thing. But larger companies, it's the same thing. It's using your data and making decisions without bias. You know, data, it's like, you should consider it as this room, or not just this room. The world is telling you what they think. You get a consensus. And still, it seems so weird to people. Like, in the film industry, they rather produce a movie that 5 people like. You know, they read the script and they got the chills. So we're going to, you know, throw 100 million at a certain production. But when AI has gone through 30,000 of movies and come up with patterns and really can nail whether this production, whether this movie will do well, it all of a sudden turns into a Terminator and they won't trust it.
Yeah, and just to be clear, that business model is exactly what Netflix are using for commissioning. And you get all of these people saying, how did Netflix do it? How did Netflix do it? Nadira, you've just absolutely described how Netflix do it.
Exactly.
I'd also like to say that, you know, so there's another AI company I work with called Setalia. And their view is that they just want to solve the world's problems. Okay. The guy who runs it is an absolute digital visionary, a professor of AI, and he just wants to solve every problem there is. And Nadira is absolutely right. What Setalia does is it goes to any business and says, what is your problem? And that can be mechanical, it could be creative, it could be about logistics. And actually they throw AI to unpack those problems and solutions fall out. So I mean, it's absolutely right, but it always starts with an analysis of a vast amount of unstructured data, which humans aren't brilliant at. Mm-hmm. They have biases, they have homes to go to, they miss things, whereas algorithms and AI don't tend to do that. So it's about each business having it applied to what their problems are, and then opportunities and solutions present themselves.
Yeah. I meet many people that are afraid of the fact that AI would replace creativity, or they freak out that AI could, you know, replace a top chef or a creative genius in an advertising agency or someone that writes a script. Do you think it will go that far that really for the most creative stuff we will use computers instead of humans, or we will use both? Philip, what's your opinion?
I used to be convinced that the creative industry would be the least affected one. I'm not too sure about that anymore. Just to start off, this is any rule-based industry like accountants or law or all that stuff. These are out. They're on their way out anyway.
Just to be clear, one of the top 4 accountancy firms has AI, an AI bot that can do everything a 5-year qualified accountant can do. I would bet that in a year's time, it could do more than 6.
Yep.
And you're absolutely right, Philip, that, you know, those, and they're in total denial, that lot. And it's their business model. There will still be accountants in the same way there's still tailors, like my father was. But what it will do for how many of them and what you'll pay for it, that's a completely different show.
Yep, exactly. And so in that respect, many of the industries that we currently know today, they will be automated in ways that we can't even imagine today. In terms of the creative industry, I was involved in some projects, and one case that I couldn't help noticing was the McCann case, where McCann, the agency, actually used AI to build some scripts for a chewing gum, Japanese chewing gum commercial, and the trick was they made 2 versions, one built by a human team and one built by an AI, but of course a human team did still the production and all that. And actually it was pretty freaky to see how both versions actually were actually good. They were actually good. And so that is very interesting. But when you take creativity from a different angle, because we're focused on media, of course, but when you look at creativity as being a non-conformistic way to solve a problem, for example, then we see great merit in new methods like reinforcement learning, for example, that is able and capable of winning very complex games like Go or poker. And this is very still in academic circles and research. But the preliminary results we see out of these things are super promising. And in that respect, I really believe that creativity, in whatever shape or form you want to define this, is indeed something that's not solely linked to humans anymore. And I think the next decades we'll see more of that.
How does the movie industry react to that? Because when you walk in, they give you a script, they worked on it for maybe a year, and then you tell them, no, it's going to be a total failure, and they love it. Do you feel a change in mindset that like the movie industry is getting more open to data, or do you see the opposite effect? And the second part of that question, do you see a change in skill sets? Because you need different people in the movie or content industry the moment that AI starts to predict what will happen. How do you see that change in attitude and skill set?
Well, first of all, they hate us. They just absolutely hate us. I should like put something over my head whenever I enter into a meeting. They just want to kill me. Well, first of all, writers hate us, of course. Creatives hate us. Directors hate us. Who loves us are the number crunchers, usually the CTOs, CFOs, CEOs, CDOs. Those love us, thank God, because they're in charge of making decisions. But I think in the movie business, first of all, like Filip was saying that he thought that the creative industry would be, safe from AI. That's not true. Because when you think of AI, think of it as an Ubermensch. That's the thing. AI will become like a better version. It's an Ubermensch. That's what AI is. And AI will do everything far better than we've ever done because it has the expertise of the top of the top of the top of the top, infinity, kwadraat, enzovoort. So basically, it's an Ubermensch. So will AI be creative? AI will be far more creative than our mind can imagine. And in the film business, they know this because they've been making, shitty movies. When you lose money, obviously, you think your people are not doing a good job, and all of a sudden there's technology, there's science that could help you. So obviously, it should be really pretty stupid to not,
Stephen,
take that
and
into
just
account.
to Nadira's point, if I was Hollywood right now, whilst the top is looking great, if you're a superhero film made by Disney or Pixar, whatever, you're doing fine. But everybody else is hurting. Everybody else is losing money out of the wazoo. Now would be the time to engage with tech like Nadira's got in order to be able to qualify those risks. And for as long as they remain in denial, they'll continue to lose money. And funny you should mention Uber. If you ask every average Uber driver, they know that they are actually simply data collectors right now. I think we can all, in our heart of hearts, work out what Uber's next move is going to be. And it probably won't involve drivers. And as we move into the world of automation and driverless cars, and what does this mean as a society, I just want you to understand that the number one job in America in terms of numbers of people is truck driver. Okay? So in 5 years' time, probably not so much. So what this will mean for all levels of society. Now, on a marketer's side, it means you're less distracted. You could be in an autonomous vehicle. You have the opportunity to consume. You've got more opportunity to be able to look outwards and be more engaged. And there's fantastic opportunities there. But we have to start thinking right now, where are we going to be? What is our future context going to be? And right now, I'd be using AI to start predicting that rather than simply ignoring it like Hollywood is.
I want to test the hypothesis with all of you. I believe that in the next decade, consumers will take more decisions based on algorithms than ever before. So probably the customer journey will become more rational than ever before. Now, if you look to the old world of marketing, we always said perception is reality. So basically, perceived value was more important than real value. My hypothesis is if we move forward 5 to 10 years and machines take more buying decisions for us, real value will become more important again than perceived value. And this could mean a total switch and flip in the way that we do marketing today. And I'd love to have your feedback on that. Do you agree, disagree? Do you see different angles? What do you think?
I totally agree about the... well, first of all, I agree with the fact that most of the decision making that we do is based on the invisible workings of AI in the background, Or I mean, how do you think you get Metallica recommended through Spotify, or you get the search results on Google, the ones you get? These aren't random, these are profiled.
Yeah, your Facebook feed. is entirely
exactly.
powered by algorithm. And that's probably the way that most people are receiving news about their lives and their families right now.
Yeah, exactly. So these companies actually are investing billions of dollars in getting to know you better, right? It's very much the same way, and taking my background from working with foreign security departments, is an intelligence agency and an advertising agency very much function the same way. Right? They have the same tools, or they want to use the same tools because they really are interested in what your motivations are, obviously for different reasons, but they really want to know who you are just so they can target you better. So in that respect, these targeting engines or recommender engines, I rather started to see them as weapons of mass influence, as we've seen, in the past elections. And these things aren't going to go away for the foreseeable future. These things are here, they're staying here because they're generating power for companies or organizations or individuals even.
Right.
So that's my first point. The second one, building on what your hypothesis is I also believe that when we move into this world where serendipity is something that is created rather than just happening, I do believe that humans, as a human, we are always looking for authenticity, and we're always looking for this human thing. And if we move into this world, I strongly feel that indeed we will see this return to authenticity, people looking for genuineness in products, or genuineness even in recommendations or people. So yeah, I totally agree with your thesis, actually.
Okay, we've got 30 seconds left if someone wants to add something to that idea.
I agree with your hypothesis. I just think that we have to be ready to understand that what people might see as value in the future may not be and probably won't be what we see it as right now. It'll be something bizarre and discontinuous, like everything else. If we think about how we consume media, how the young people date, to what extent how your food is being delivered, or how the algorithms are being used in the background, keep an eye on what that future value is going to be using the tools of AI, and you will win.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. If you look at the opportunities that we're going to have in marketing, I think, as I said, it's more exciting than ever before. My personal belief is also we need to focus on the end customer experience and then work our way backwards and see how we can create like this seamless, personalized, faster than real-time experience, and see how we can get there step by step. On the other hand, as maybe a conclusion of this section of the conference, I can imagine the ethical questions that we're going to have are going to be, something else than the stuff that we have today. I mean, the privacy discussion that we have now is like a bullshit discussion. It's a Mickey Mouse discussion. If you ask me, it's about the cookies of Facebook that we're worried about. If you think about Amazon Echo and Google Home, maybe we're going to talk with them like 30 minutes a day. The other 23 hours and 30 minutes, they're going to be listening to everything that we're saying. I think that the craziest example is that we have a murder trial now in the US where Amazon Echo is actually a key witness to prove that someone is not guilty. I mean, if we would have said that 10 years ago, that in 2017 there would be a murder trial and a witness is a machine and not a human, I'm not sure if we would have believed that. But
I recommend that Alexa gets a robot lawyer.
The ethical question, how far do we want AI to go, and how close are we going to get to Minority Report? If Echo is in our living room and someone is about to beat up his wife, she will hear that. She will basically predict that this is a dangerous situation for one of the two people in the house. Do we want the machine to keep out of that conversation? Do we want her to call the police? I mean, the ethical questions that we're going to have in this field are going to be something totally different than in phase 2 of digital. So I think it's going to be a world of opportunities for marketing, but also a world of ethical questions that we're going to have. But I think it's going to be wonderful to do marketing in this third phase of digitalization. I'd like to thank my 3 panel members, Cliff, Nadira, Filip, and let's enjoy the future together. Give them a big hand. Thank you.